How are you?
I'm delightful. And I know that you're a great guy because you got your start in radio, right?
Yes, I did, sir. I did tons of radio down in Alabama. Got suspended and fired a couple times for it, but that just means you're trying. That's all you fired me.
Yeah, and if you're not, they used to say that if you don't get fired at least once, you're not a good DJ, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're not pushing the envelope.
So you're on the Daily Show now as a correspondent with Trevor Noah, doing a really good job, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
And you were also on Sullivan's and Son for a long time on TBS. So when people come up to you on the street, where do they recognize you from most?
It's either, well, before the Daily Show, it was usually from me being on Conan or my prank phone calls.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because for some reason, I'm a big fan of prank phone calls. I used to make them as a kid. I made them on the radio, and I have a collection of crank phone call CDs, and I have all three of yours.
It's a lost art, the prank phone call.
It is.
A lot of people don't do it now because I'm sure these millennials consider it a form of bullying, which I guess in a way it kind of was. It was a different time.
Plus, lawyers have entered corporate radio, Roy, and they don't like risk-taking. And
no, they're not a fan of the prank phone call. I got fired one time. I call a pet store that sells the shock collars for the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
The little barking collar that makes the dog shut up or whatever. I called the pet store that sells the collars. I told them I run a daycare, and the kids won't be quiet. And I wanted to know if I could buy a couple in bulk. And the guy said no. It's not like the guy was on the phone going, well, how many you need, buddy? And apparently some anti-kid electrocution group got a hold of the new password to the sales rep. And during the commercial break, I was let go. I got rehired, thankfully. But
during the commercial break?
Dude, my boss walked in and just said, leave.
Really?
I said, when? He said, now.
So I take it that never made it to one of the CDs, or did it?
No, yeah. Actually, yes, it did. First CD. My mom made me wear this.
Okay. Because, that's the thing. I mean, you bring up a good point. It's all in your imagination. You're making the whole thing up. It's not like you're going to go do it, right?
But you're giving people the idea and you're putting it in their head. No. And I'm your boss.
Well, I called an airport once, and apparently that's federal property, an airport, and the FBI gets involved.
Ooh, nice.
And the only thing that saved me, Roy, is the FBI regional director lived across the street from me. And we were friends, and he came over that night, and he goes, what did you do? Explain this to me. And I sat him down, and he's like, yeah, that was funny, but, yeah, don't do that again.
Yeah.
Boy.
No more prank phone calling for me, man. But, yeah, it's something I always loved doing. It's just now with the Daily Show and stuff, I'm not trying to get Comedy Central unraveled in one of my lawsuits.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, I find it kind of strange in this polarizing political climate that we live in that some of the most astute political conversations we're hearing are on comedy shows. It's kind of sad, but at the same time, is it because you can laugh at it?
Yeah, I think there's just a level of realism to... If you can laugh at something, it's a lot easier to digest, is what I really think it boils down to. And so I think that's an advantage that, our show and, a lot of the other shows that are out there that do something, in the same ballpark, comedically with the news, is that you're able to laugh at it. So I think in that regard, it helps people want to digest the material, whereas if you just watch it on a basic news channel, you're just getting straight information infused. It's like a straight shot versus a little bit of chaser in the form of humor.
Yeah, and there's, you and Trevor have some of the most open conversations about race that I've ever heard on TV, and it's like, why is that? That's the only place we can talk about it. It seems like it's diffused somehow, I guess, right?
Well, because race is such a hot topic, and everyone has a strong opinion about it. That if you put it on regular TV, you just get people yelling about it. But if you can throw a joke in here and there, then people are it's more digestible.
Yeah.
It's what I'm trying to say is that when you add humor to a serious topic, it becomes a little bit more digestible.
So, did you start doing stand-up while you were in college? I understand, right?
Yeah, dude. I was 19, man. I was just riding around in Florida between classes. I stacked all of my classes to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and the rest of the time I was on the road in a Greyhound bus, going from show to show.
Did you start out like a lot of guys do? Did you have to do a lot of open mics and work for free, or did you get?
Oh yeah, dude! I did all the hellhole rooms. I did redneck rooms. I did dope boys. Like sometimes, like drug dealers will have comedy shows as a way to get some startup capital.
Are you serious?
Like, I'm dead serious. And they'll hold a comedy show, and they'll pre-sell the tickets a month out, and they use the pre-sale money to go buy a kilo, and then they're back in business, and then you have the comedy show at the end of the month.
Really? Now, how did you find out about? I mean, are they upfront about it, or are you just kind of?
The reason why I found out, you don't know this, but I found out because we got to the venue one time, and the drug dealer hadn't sold the kilo yet, which meant he didn't have any money.
So he couldn't pay you?
So he politely offered to let us pinch a little bit off the brick, and we could sell it ourselves and make twice what he was going to pay us.
Did you do it?
I did the show for free.
Okay.
He unioned me the cash a couple months later.
Yeah, and really, if you figure that out too, Roy, it's not like you can complain a lot because it kind of feels dangerous, doesn't it?
Listen, these drug dealers are honorable guys. They sent me that money. I've always said that about drug dealers. Honorable people.
Roy Wood Jr., thanks for joining me this morning. He's a correspondent on The Daily Show, and he'll be performing at Laughfest. Laughfestgr.org is where you go for tickets. March 19th, 2 shows, 8 and 10:30. Thanks for joining us this morning, Roy.
Indeed. Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.